Peace, peace. This is Brother Faheem, and you are now tuned in to the Lead with Logic podcast. You know the vibes. Peace, peace. Welcome back. Welcome back to the Lead with Logic podcast. I'm your most gracious and humble host, Brother Faheem, and we got another special treat for you. Got another special guest, another interview, bringing y'all some great news that y'all gonna be able to use. We got my girl Kiristian Carhee. Let me go ahead on and give her proper introduction. She is a wife, mother, new mother, by the way,
Yes.
entrepreneur, as you can see, creative director of Feeka Coffee, and also that's near and dear to my heart, Kiristian Carhee. How you doing, Kirsten? Welcome.
I'm doing very well, Fahim. Thank you so much for having me today. I am humbled by this. I can't even describe. It's
Hey,
great to be here.
listen, I'm humbled and I'm the one in for the treat. Thank you. And I look, the positivity is just me reflecting what you are refracting. So thank you so much for coming on. And
Appreciate
thank
that.
look, I just want you to tell the people a little bit about yourself. Can maybe like where you from, your upbringing, certain things, a couple things like that so we can know your backstory.
Oh, of course. Well, I am a military spouse, wife, and mother, like you described. And I'm actually from the birthplace of the civil rights movement. I'm from Montgomery, Alabama. I'm pretty proud about that. My history, as far as my lineage and my family goes back in Alabama for hundreds of years, actually, after I've had time to research that. But yeah, rich history in Alabama. Parents are from a small town, Wetumpka, Alabama, but the majority of us Montgomery.
Montgomery, Alabama. Okay. Yeah, that's the civil rights movement.
Yes,
Absolutely.
that's the birthplace of it all.
Hey,
So
absolutely.
very rich history.
Were you super aware of it growing up, Kirsten? Like, was it something that was like a part of the overall culture in that town?
To be honest, like it wasn't something that I was like, man, I don't think I realized how deep it went until I learned more about it as an adult. But of course, you learn about it in school, and they kind of touch on some things with it. But because people always ask me, they're like, well, did you ever deal with racism growing up, or did you ever deal with any issues with that since you're from Alabama? And to be honest, no, not really. But I mean, it's a thing now where it's like maybe you didn't realize what it was growing up. Maybe you didn't see exactly what it was until you got much older because you used to being around it all the time. So
Right. Right.
yeah,
I got you. So you really didn't see it, but no, that's cool. That's normally when you inside of a thing, it's hard for you to gauge what exactly is going on. I always say it's hard for you to see your house on the inside and see the outside view because you inside,
exactly.
you can't really do it. Um,
Exactly.
I read where your dad was military. Is that right?
Yes, my dad was in the United States Army. He served almost 10 years before he got out. So I moved around a little bit with him, with the family.
Yes.
And my sister was born. And then after that, he kind of got out of it. I think that's one of his biggest regrets. But he always speaks about, how much he loved that experience. And he was a very pretty big disciplinarian because of it, but
Mhm.
definitely taught me a lot about discipline and being driven.
What I always like to ask people who are military brats or came up military, you
For
know,
sure.
sometimes people move around, for financial reasons. You know what I mean? One of the people that I think of, I'm reading his book now, Tupac Shakur, the autobiography, and he moved around quite a bit, because they were below the poverty line.
Right.
And it had an effect on his mind. So I always like to ask people who came up military, how did that affect your development, Kirsten? Moving around
Um,
like
I would say, it had a good effect on me just because it gave me a sense of being a little more well-rounded. And it didn't put me, I mean, when we're from the South, we kind of have a way of doing things. And it definitely opened up my mind to a lot of things. I know, My husband spoke before about, embracing the culture in Guam, the Chamorro culture, and fortunately, I've had the opportunity to do that as well in all my experiences growing up. I mean, I lived in Germany as a kid, and my dad went to Korea, and I've been on the West Coast, I've been on the East Coast. So I've kind of seen a lot of different things. I was always kind of like the new kid starting out in school. And that when you're that kid growing up, you kind of have to like develop thick skin. So it definitely, I felt like, has been beneficial in my upbringing, and my daughter is experiencing it now. So it kind of, I learned the lessons from my mother, and she hopefully will learn those lessons from us.
Absolutely. I always say, travel gives you a different sort, a different type of education, right? When you're so young like that, a
Yeah.
lot of times you think about roots and pulling you up from your roots, but it doesn't have to be like that. If you have a strong foundation, wherever you go, you know what I mean, you can get planted. And like you just said, um it helped you out. And like I'm saying, man, it offered you, and you can see it. I'm sure people around you can see it. Like, man, she has a well-roundedness that comes from travel and being in certain different type settings and environment, because it helps out. It helps you out really as an adult, to be well-rounded when you can probably fit in anywhere. Kirsten, is what I'm guessing.
I appreciate that. I mean, I don't, what it's so funny because some of my coworkers at work call me sunshine. And it's like, I don't know. I don't feel like, everybody don't feel sunny all the time, but it's like I think I bring a presence that's, just being happy. I enjoy, like, I especially in the morning, like I like to start off my day with positivity. It might not end like that every day, but I'm speaking to people, I'm making eye contact, and I think that's something that is kind of lacking now. So yeah, I appreciate that. I mean, I would like to think that I'm pretty well rounded, but I feel like people just need that. They need, even if it's just a little bit of something, like just something to say, I'm giving you some positive energy today.
Absolutely. No, we start off in my home. We start off with affirmations every day. You probably gonna do that with your daughter, but I make my
Oh
children
yeah, for sure.
look in the mirror and look at themselves, look at all their flaws, look at everything about themselves, and reaffirm. And not only reaffirm, take hold of the day, right? Because
Right.
like you said, when you start off the day with positivity, it really just sets the tone. It's almost like starting off the day exercising. When your endorphins are high, the rest of the day,
Yes.
man, there's a high that's undescribable, indescribable. And it's the same thing with affirmation. So I think that's
Yes.
beautiful what you're saying.
Absolutely.
Um,
Yes.
your adolescent years, because it sounds like your teenage years your childhood years, excuse me, were pretty cool. Tell me about your teen years and some of those experiences, and how
Oh
they
man,
impacted your life.
I was, just from what I can recall, like I was always kind of not a loner, but I just didn't really follow the crowd at all. Like there's always these different cliques, and everybody kind of tries to fit into one of them, whether you were the really smart kids, or if you were the jocks or the cheerleaders. I really didn't fit into any of that. Now I tried. I played basketball my junior and high school year. I played for a little bit and kind of got out of that. And, I tried a few things here and there, just to kind of gain that exposure. But, I was pretty determined when I got to high school that I wanted to graduate and go to college. And that was something that if nothing else, that's what I was sure of. But I had a really good upbringing. I had great grandparents. I had great parents. They taught me a lot about just being an adult. And my parents were really big on, like, not sugarcoating things. So, I'm not saying they taught every lesson, but they were really big about, hey, you got to have this, you got to do this, you got to do this. And I mean, they're old school, so they were kind of big on, like, routine, and, like, get a good job and this and that, and you got to go to school. But I take the lessons that they taught me, and I use that to kind of be creative in my own way. So, I have the 9 to 5. I think a lot of people do, but I also wanted to, that entrepreneurship was very important to me, even as at a young age. I was the kid that was like, man, I wish I could braid hair. I wish I could, I wish
Mhm.
I could do something like I'm always trying to learn a skill. Like I was that kid who was very big into DIY, trying to figure out some type of niche, so to speak. So, and it's been a lot of trial and error for me. I won't lie, but I had a great upbringing. I had a lot of friends, and we always had good times. Um, yeah, I don't know if you are familiar with well, what the world knows him as Twitch. I know him as Stephen Boss.
Oh, the
Um,
brother that passed.
yeah,
Yeah, Ellen's. Yeah, he was like the.
I grew up with him, like
Wow.
not the same neighborhood. He was like a block up from us in our neighborhood, but I'm talking about all some of the same friends. And hearing about his passing was devastating
I'm sure
because
it
we
was.
have so many memories of just being on the corner, just talking, hanging out, or going. We would roller skate up and down our neighborhoods, and it's just that when that situation happened, it really brought me back to my childhood and some of those fond memories.
Yeah, man, that was very very unfortunate what happened because he seemed like a great spirit from what I
Oh
could
yeah,
see.
beautiful spirit. And I mean, just another one of those people who, like, you never saw him sad or upset. Like he always was, and he was always happy, and then he used his dancing to kind of motivate and push and bring some happiness to other people as well. And talented. I mean, there's not anything I can say to describe how talented he was.
You could see it. It shined through. It definitely
For
shined
sure.
through. I hadn't written this down, but you reminded me about this that I asked people, what well you said you were into do it yourself and that kind of breeds entrepreneurship. Did you see any people in your family, were there any entrepreneurs, what gave you that extra push? Did because a lot of times children become what they see, positive or negative. So was it a family member? Was it one of your parents? Or was it just that sheer desire to do things and learn things myself? And then you said, what, maybe I can get paid for this. How did that go, the entrepreneurship?
Yeah, there were quite a few entrepreneurs in my family. My grandparents were gardeners, and I mean that sounds simple enough, but I mean they would grow all kinds of vegetables. My grandfather would, hunt and have meat, and they would barter and trade between each other. So if I had one cousin or aunt or something that had this vegetable, he might trade the meat that he caught or the fishing he had done. He might trade some fish for that vegetable or so on. And I mean, they would have us literally on the porch. And all of my cousins can attest to this. They would have us on the porch, like shucking peas and pulling husk off corn. And I mean, we would be doing it for like dimes, but we were so excited to get that, to go to the store later and buy something, that it did create a drive in us. I also have an aunt who, she would make bowls, and like she would like put all kind of creations on t-shirts and for her kids. And it was another thing where she might make bowls, and then she would trade that with someone else that might have something else that she needed. So all those little things that I saw growing up just, created a spark in me of just, you know, I don't have to have a necessarily a gift or be talented in anything. It's just the effort. It's that you put some effort in to do something, and if that didn't work, then you try something else. And that spirit in me has definitely created this jack of all trade type of energy in me. I definitely feel like I have that.
Hey, that's beautiful. And you're absolutely right. I like how you emphasized not being not necessarily mastering it, or not, I won't say mastering it, being successful at it, right? But you absolutely have to put forth that effort because that effort is what's going to make the difference. Hell, even if you're good if you're good at something, you still got to put the effort forth. I tell
Oh
kids
yeah.
all the time, like my son plays basketball and my daughter dances, and I tell them, hard work beats talent when talent don't work hard. And that hard work is all about effort,
It
like
is
you
really
said.
good.
All about effort. Yeah, it's all about effort. And I love that you saying that because to all you young people out there,
Oh
you
yeah.
just dropped the gym. Like, keep trying. If at first you
Yeah.
don't succeed, dust yourself off and try again. That is,
Failure is the biggest teacher. I mean, it's
yes,
the biggest lesson. If you can't fail,
that's right.
and I'm teaching my little one that now. Like every time something don't go her way, it's boo-hoo time. And I'm like, look, you have to dust it off and keep going. And that's,
Mhm.
I mean,
And don't be afraid.
you gotta be able to fail in this world because you're not gonna succeed at everything.
Listen, Bruce Lee said, failure is a product. I would rather fail than to do nothing at all because at least in failure, you can see you put some type of effort forth. Not failure, boys and girls, that you just say, I'm not gonna do it. That's negligence. That's something different. We're talking about trying. Well, Kirsten talking about trying and then dusting it off and keeping moving because that's
Exactly.
all a part of the process.
Yes.
So teaching, teaching. I hear you saying a jack of all trades, and uh, you saw some entrepreneurship in your family. What made you want to go into teaching, Kirsten? How did that happen?
That's a very interesting story as well because I actually went to school for nursing and I did
Mm,
2 years of nursing before I decided that it was not for me. I did a psych ward rotation and I did a geriatrics rotation as well. So I saw the very old, sick, and dying, and I
yes,
saw people who were not literally in their right mind.
yes.
So it and it wasn't something that I didn't do well in academically. It just didn't sit right in my spirit. And
Mm,
so I have a lot of teachers in my family actually. Like the aunt that I spoke of earlier, she's a retired teacher. She's married to a teacher, and which my uncle, and I have quite a few educators in my family. So it was always something that I felt like I was good at. My first job was as a camp counselor at the YMCA. Um, Shout out to the YMCA, by the way. Like I have a lot of humble beginnings from there. So I've always kind of been around kids. After I did that, I married my husband and I started working in a preschool. And I was literally just doing scrub work, cleaning up, like helping take care of the kids, very transitional type things. And I actually taught in Guam as well. I taught preschool in Guam,
oh wow.
literally teaching kids with no shoes on because that's customary over there not to wear shoes inside. So even in the schoolhouse, it's still considered like a house. So no shoes in my socks, trying to teach kids. A lot of Filipino and Japanese and Asian kids English, and so it was I felt a connection there with them.
Right.
And I'm like, these are kids that don't relate to me in any way. And by the time I'm done, I got all these kids around me like looking to me for answers. So it just definitely lit a spark. And I'm like, this is something that I can do. This is something that I can make a difference in kids' lives for sure. So I just continued from there, and just slowly working my way up. So I was an assistant in this room, and then I was the lead teacher. And then when I had my degree, I went to the grade level. And that's kind of what I've been doing this entire time. And, to anyone who is trying to to get into teaching, there are still kids out here who need that help and they need someone that they can look up to. So I know it's a dying breed teaching, but there's still some kids out here that need good teachers that care.
Man, how wonderful is that? I'm listening to what you're saying, and a couple things are ringing out that I hope y'all are listening to. She said she started in nursing school. She didn't get out because it was too rigorous. She said it didn't hit right in her soul. So that means she was intent and she was purpose driven. She understood I'm not looking for a career. I'm looking for my purpose. And
Yes.
you figure out it's not through nursing and you got out of there because I'm gonna tell y'all so many people working a job that they hate. And that's what you call a slow death. That's a prison sentence.
Absolutely.
And so I'm glad that you had the wherewithal and the God, the feminine divinity in you that you could say, this ain't me. And then um, I like your hustle. This is all contingent with what you had just told us about shucking those peas, uh,
Yeah.
about being a master of all trades. You being true to who you were, right, Kirsten? You were like, you know
I,
what? I love teaching, but I might not come in on grade level, but I can come in wiping the toys down. Then I'm gonna move up from there, and I'm
oh
gonna
yeah.
be an
Oh
assistant,
yeah.
and then
That's
I'm gonna be a lead. That's what it's all about.
yes.
That's one of those formulas, Kirsten, that I find in people who are uber successful. Going back to Tupac, he talked about starting at the bottom and then working all the
Yes.
way up. Right. And that's a part, that's another thing that we talked about failure. Would you say that that's a part of it?
Oh
Being
yes.
humble enough to
You do
elevate gradually.
huge slice of humble pie for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
I
So
agree.
yeah. So no, that's beautiful. That's, see, I didn't know that. And
Uh
let me I wasn't gonna mention this, but I am, just because we done talked about it. Y'all remember my bill with the magnificent, the illustrious Askia the Great Carhee, the
yes.
CEO, the creative director of the creative director of Chinese baby company.
Baby
I'm
come.
tripping. Chinese. I'm thinking, Kirsten. God knows I'm
That's
trying.
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, I'm thinking God knows I'm trying, but that's just a part of the brand. But this is his
Yes.
lovely, beautiful wife. And when you watch that bill, you remember we kind of went over Feeka Coffee. So
Yes.
definitely
Yes. Thank you.
appreciate it.
Definitely give that shout out.
Now I see where uh you found your purpose, right? Being from a family of educators, right? Um,
Yes.
how has teaching helped your soul's progression? Kirsten, tell me
Ooh,
about that.
that's a man, that's a beautiful question. Oh my gosh. And just as I sit here and think on that, I'm just like, I believe as far as my soul's progression, it's just allowed me to like not be fearful of, what's unknown. Because when you step into the classroom, especially in today's climate,
Woo!
you don't know what you walking into. And it's really a metaphor for life because you could apply this to just about any situation, but you don't know what. I don't fear the unknown. I don't fear, what is not expected. And that's a beautiful lesson in itself because when you become fearless in a sense, you know, anything that might be considered adversarial or might be considered, a challenge, is just not as challenging as it might seem. And that's what we try to teach our kids in the classroom. Yeah, this concept might be challenging, it might be hard, but you are harder and you have the power that you need to get through your situation. So that's the first thing that I thought of when you mentioned that. Um, I love waking up every day and teaching and working with my kids and not knowing what's going to be said, not knowing what they're going to learn or get out of my lesson. We all have to have lesson plans and planning and whatnot. But when you sit in that classroom and something is sparked that you didn't even plan on, it's beautiful. It's beautiful to watch. And I have the little ones. I'm with the little kiddos. So I'm grateful to be learning and experiencing new things with them.
That is wonderful. That is wonderful. So as they learn and grow, you get to learn and grow as well. Their
Oh, for
growth,
sure.
look,
Every day.
yeah, their growth is almost as they learn and grow, that helps your soul glow. that helps
For
you.
sure.
That helps you out.
And
No,
it's just not the same teaching anymore. Like it's not like when we were kids and we used to just like crack open the dictionary and have to memorize different words and definitions. Like
mhm.
these kids are doing everything. Majority of kindergartners are reading at the end of the school year, and that's something that was unheard of when I was in school. So, the expectation, unfortunately, is becoming more challenging.
Mm.
And we as educators and our students are trying our best to meet those challenges. And every day is not a success, like I said before. But even my kids hustle and drive. I mean, it motivates me. Sometimes I come in there and I'm like, man, this is a lot today. Like, and they're like greeting me with hugs and, just they're already on task and ready to go. And that drives me. So, I work with an amazing group of kids. If I could shout them out really quick, I really do enjoy the kids that I work with.
And you teach kindergarten, right?
Yes, I have kindergartners now. I've taught first grade before, and like I said, I've worked in preschools and I've taught preschool. I've taught prep kindergarten, but yeah, I've always stayed with the lower grades. I did a rotation of well, you have to when you student teach when you're going through school, you have to do rotations of the other grades so you get a feel for what they are. And when I went through that middle school,
That yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, you need the patience of Job. I don't know if I have it.
yeah.
But
It's
some people say that about kindergarten. They're like, I don't know, you need a lot of patience. So it's just what you call to do.
man. With kindergarten, you can kind of slap, make a loud boom or something, and they be like, oh, you know. But with
Yeah,
middle
there is
school,
more
they
of
be like,
a sense of wonder with the little ones.
yeah, they
Yeah.
still have that inquisitiveness, and then most
Yes.
most children, unless they have it rough, and some of them do, we see behavioral problems, right? I've
Oh,
seen
yeah.
that with my every year with my kids. It seems to always be a kid in there, or some children in there who
Yes.
might have a serious uh behavioral problem. A learning disorder is one thing, but a behavioral problem is something totally
Yes.
different.
We are seeing a huge spike in behavioral issues since COVID,
Mm.
because there was a period of time where kids were kind of learning at home and it's just a different dynamic. And then when everybody went back to the school full time, we saw a spike in autism and behavioral issues and things like that. Not to scare anyone that's going into teaching or considering it, but everything is inclusion now. It's not about like SPED or like retrack, as we said back in the day, or special education. It is all about being able to handle what you have in the classroom with every issue that you might be dealing with there.
Ooh, yeah. Middle school is rough. I know that. I
Yes,
mean, because in any era, middle school was always the hardest.
it is.
It was
It's
hard when we
it's
were
the
back.
most it's the most biological changes. So
Yeah,
it's gonna be harder.
yeah. It's everybody's imbalanced.
Yes,
Everybody's imbalanced. That right there, whoo, that can lead to a rough time. I
for
was
sure.
reading, Kirsten, where you wrote something interesting. I wanted you to expound with the people on it. You mentioned being at this point in your life being the healthiest, the most conscious, the most creative, and the most driven. Uh,
For
this
sure.
this being that time of your life. Explain what that means, because that was rather intriguing to me.
Yes, I recently joined the 40 Club. I'm like gonna shout that to the rooftops. But you know, I mean, when I was 20 years old, even, you kind of just followed the rule book, or you kind of just did, you're still trying to figure things out a little bit.
Hmm.
But at this point in my life, I am definitely more grounded, and I'm definitely more rooted in my purpose, and just I'm interested in working for myself and my family way more than holding down a 9 to 5 job or
Hmm.
any of that could provide. I mean, of course, like I said before, that's important and I understand having that, but entrepreneurship is just, I mean, like I said before, watching my husband with his company, all the people that I've met at the different pop-ups, the family that I spoke of earlier, and all the things that they've done. I mean, if you're not willing to work for yourself, I mean, I don't know. It just seems like we're at a point, everything is getting higher and more expensive. And, the family still got to eat. I mean, it's just we have to figure out ways to make it work. And, I just I've had a lot of time in my 30s. I've read a lot of books. I've had time to meet a lot of interesting people in my life. And, it has led me to this point in my path and my journey. And I celebrate it. It's just a point where I'm not like, well, and, I don't have everything figured out.
Hmm.
It's not even being worried with that. It's just being rooted in who I am and knowing who I am. And I celebrate it. And that's what this time in my life I believe is for. It's about celebration, and it's about moving forward for me,
Yes.
because I've had a lot of stagnant energy in my life, like everyone deals with. But once I got over that hump and I launched Feeka, it's like a spark. It's like I can't really even explain it fully and articulate it in a way that makes sense. And I hope I'm making some sense.
Very
But
much. A whole lot.
I feel that spark in me saying, well, I could do this. Maybe I could do this. Well, yeah, I could do this. This led me to another idea. Well, let's do this. And it just starts, all this creative energy just starts flowing. And before you know it, you've got things and people are like, man, this is amazing. I really like this. Like, and I'm like, really? This is something I just came up with. But that's all it takes, is just that one start. And you don't know how far that will take you.
It sounds like what you're saying, Kirsten, and you stop me because I don't want to put words in your mouth. It
For
sounds
sure.
like this entrepreneur endeavor that you've been on, it's made you feel the most alive that you've ever felt. You feel
Oh
electric.
yeah, for
Is that
sure.
what you're saying?
For sure.
Listen, in this book right here, and I'm pretty sure Skio will probably, when he watches this, he'll probably get it if he doesn't already have it. You see, it's all busted up.
Yes, you got all your notes.
Yeah, I got my notes in there. This book is a message to the black man in America by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes.
And I bring that up because it should be reading for all of y'all out there, right? But in that book, he says, separate or suffer the consequences.
Mm,
Now he's talking about separating from mainstream society, but
yes.
when he says suffer the consequences, he's talking about the same thing you're talking about. He's talking about the opposite polarity, not feeling alive, feeling enslaved to a 9 to 5, feeling
And the
like
day to
you're
day.
dead
Yes.
from the day to day, the rat race. So I bring that up because that's what you're really diving into. You're really exemplifying what he's saying. Like, hey, in order for you to feel alive in your 40s, man, you need to do something for yourself. And that's, we're gonna get into that later, but that is really it's really a steaming though. It's really, really a steaming, and it's something that I don't think we discuss or that we emphasize. And I always try to
Yes.
put it into the
And
young people, like, do for yourself, accept your own and be yourself, and separate suffer the consequences. But being an
yes.
entrepreneur, having our
Sure.
own economy is absolutely a huge slice of that pie. So everything you're saying is making so much sense.
And it's
um
attainable. I think that's something
yes.
for our young people to understand. Like it just takes a little something. When I started Fika, um, I didn't have everything figured out. So because I didn't have everything figured out, I felt like, well, I can't do this. I got to have this. I had this laundry list of things that I felt like I had to do. And it's why I give so much honor and praise to my husband, because he was like, no, just start. And he literally would say it like that. And it would get to the point where it would kind of annoy me, because I'm like, but I can't just start. And I would come up with all these reasons why I couldn't. The only one that was stopping me was me.
That's it.
Literally. It
That's
was
it.
just me keeping me from, once he was like, look, you have a deadline. You have put this off long enough. You have a deadline. I ordered your shirts. I got this going for you. You have a deadline. If you don't meet it, oh well. And he literally talked to me like I was an employee almost. He was like, you don't meet the deadline, or like it said like you were doing a business contract or meeting or something. And he was like, if you don't meet this deadline, then you out. It was just like you
That hey,
out.
but we
And I was
need that
like,
sometimes.
oh my God, I got to get this done right now.
We
And
be
that's
needing
literally how I launched Feeka. I didn't have all of it figured out. None of it was all together. but I had something that clearly interests people, and I just ran with it
Listen,
for
that's what
sure.
I'm learning. That's what entrepreneurship is too. You know, you build your wings while you're flying.
Oh my gosh,
And that's
exactly.
scary for some people. Some people don't want to take that chance. But like
That's
Will Smith,
exactly it.
yeah, like Will Smith said, I finished his book. He said everything that you dream of is right on the other side of fear. Right on the opposite side of that door of
Absolutely.
fear is everything that you've been dreaming about. So you just have to walk through that door without any, fear with you. Take that
Yes.
chance, and it'll all be revealed, and you'll have that and more. So, yeah, I'm
Yes.
loving it. I'm loving it.
That that's
Um,
beautiful.
how
Funny, I'm
was?
gonna have to start like writing some of this stuff down.
No, this is no.
Some of your quotes. That is deep.
Look, that wasn't even mine. That was that, like I
Is
said, that was Will Smith. Yeah, that was Will
right.
Smith. I be reading, I be like, wow, I be thinking the same thing. But knowledge, Kirsten, don't belong to anybody. It's the universes. You know what I'm
That's so
saying?
true.
It's the universes. So you use it because it applies. People are gonna say,
Exactly.
as long as it applies, they're gonna be like, she right. Dang.
Yes.
But
Yes.
so let's get into how Feeka Coffee was born. Let's talk
Oh
about it.
yes. So
How'd you
I came up with the idea of Feeka Coffee right after the loss of my mother. So I lost my mother at the beginning of 2018.
mm,
And by the end of 2018, I had established like the name and the concept and just really the direction of what I wanted it to be.
mhm,
So, growing up, coffee was a big thing. I mean, I would have memories of my grandmother having coffee on like her teacup and her saucer. Like she made it a big deal. And it was like, well, Granny, you drinking coffee. I want to drink coffee too. And she would pour me like a little bit of coffee and it would be a lot of milk. But that teacup and that saucer was something to me, it was like us having a tea party. But, you know, even the aroma, I think the biggest uh, of our five senses, the biggest sense we attach to memories is the sense of smell. And that
mm,
aroma of coffee is something that just brings me back to my childhood. Even as a school age child, I would catch a ride with my auntie and her teacher friend because we would kind of carpool and we
mhm.
all would be going to the same school and they would have, I don't know if you remember those thermoses from the 80s and
Yeah, I
uh,
remember the thermoses.
yes, they would
The
have
little
them big
silver
long thermoses with the little cup on the end
cup on the
and
top.
they would be listening to Tom Joyner's like soap operas and drinking coffee on the way to work. And that, why do I remember stuff like that? I remember the smell of the coffee and just conversations with my mom. We would have over a cup of coffee, things like that. So memories like that, they make me feel good.
Mhm.
And that's what I wanted my business to be about, a feel good type of feeling, a type of vibe. And then there's another side to it as well. During this time where I had lost my mom and things like that, we were dealing with so much in this country with just injustices.
Mm,
It would be a lot of issues, the Philando Castiles and the Tamir Rices and things like that, where we were literally being discriminated on a regular basis. And I know at that time I was living in Florida, and there were a lot of issues with people going into a lot of big name coffee shops and literally being forced to leave. And I'm talking about our culture, our
right,
kids.
right.
They would be going in to study. They would be going in to have study groups, and they would be persecuted and harassed. And it got to a point where I'm like, I mean, I might be something starting with humble beginnings, but I just wanted to provide an opportunity um, for what I wasn't seeing in my community. Because, like I said, it was a lot of big name companies, and a lot of those companies, are not owned by us. And then it's not to say that we don't have companies who own coffee shops. There's a lot of us, but just there could always be some more. And I mean, that's what kind of sparked it for me. And, when I go to pop ups and things like that, I see a lot of different products and I see a lot of things that people have to offer. I don't see a lot of coffee and tea, to be honest. It's something that I'm passionate about.
Mm-hmm.
So I figured I'd share it.
Listen, that is absolutely wonderful. I think that you're doing a magnificent job. You know what? I'm this next question. I'm tripping. I'm gonna bring up you guys' site. I'm gonna bring up Feeka Coffee site, and we also have a special treat. We also have Instagram as well. So what I want you guys to do is a few things. First and foremost, I want y'all to like and subscribe
Oh,
to
I
Lead
appreciate
with
that.
Logic. Right.
Yes.
Next, I want you to. We getting ready to pull it up on Instagram and her website, official website. But I want y'all to follow Miss Kiristian Feeka Coffee so that you can stay abreast of what's going on. You can stay in the know because there aren't a lot
Yes.
of black. I don't know if I would call it brewery. You have to help me, Kirsten. Would it be considered like when I think brewery, I think of like Samuel Adams beer. I don't drink
Right.
Samuel.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, of course. We are considered an online coffee shop. So I'm not a roaster. I'm not I don't have a brewery or anything like that. I pick out the blends and the things that I like, the different products that I use, they're organic, and then I kind of assemble it and put it together. So, as far as that, roasting is something that, I hope to dabble in the future.
Of course.
That comes with time. But yeah, we are considered an online coffee shop.
Online black coffee shop. You know what I'm
There you
saying?
go.
Like that is it don't get no better than that. So the other question, the bonus question I was going to add to that, but I think you answered it, was the special connection. And I mean, you can go a little bit deeper if you would like, but the special connection you talked about conversations and it's stimulating an emotional memory that you have.
Oh
So
yeah.
what is that? What is your whole philosophy? What is that connection to the coffee and the tea that you have? And I'm gonna pull up your Instagram and website while you talking. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. I have a very strong connection to my mother and my grandmother in particular. I feel like in a lot of ways we are our ancestors.
Mhm.
We are the embodiment of them. Once it's our turn in our time period, and that's what those memories are in a sense my connection to them. And so that's what kind of drives me and whatnot as far as the coffee and whatnot. I believe wholeheartedly if my mother were here, she would have a hand in helping me with this company. And I feel like she still guides my thoughts and actions with it. But as far as Feeka, those memories that I share with Feeka, I want to encourage that through my products now. We are in a age and time where there's not as much person to person interaction. It's a lot of everything through technology, and which is good. Technology is a great thing, but at the same time, we need more human interaction. We need more conversations. I call them coffee and combos. And
That's dope.
this brand encourages that, because those are the things that you're going to hold on to, not some Instagram tweet or how many likes you got this day. Real human experience is what's important, I think.
Yes, absolutely. Coffee and combos. You own to something with that. I like that. I
I
love it. Coffee
appreciate
and
it.
combos. Yeah, no, that's dope. This is the lovely Kirsten, and this is I assume you out somewhere. Was this a pop
Yeah.
up?
No, I actually went to Atlanta for my 40th. I remember I joined the 40 club, and my
Oh,
sister my sister met us there. This is actually in the hotel. This is like a bit of a bar and lounge in the hotel. We actually ate breakfast and dinner here. And she is a photographer. Actually, shout out to Melanie Muse. That's my sister's site.
melanated
And
music right there.
she's an up and coming photographer, and she actually took these pictures for me. So all the ones you see with me in the blue jean skirt, she took those.
Oh wow.
Just a great talent. She has an eye for, for those shots. Um, but yeah, a great time. I had a lot of I got to try different coffee, and I had a really good
Look, you was glowing. You like you was having a good old
time.
a good old time. And if you was turning that 40, look, yeah, okay. Yeah. This is
Appreciate
nice. This is nice, man. Look, y'all look like y'all was and you had that coffee. Look like you
Oh
had that coffee.
yeah. Oh yeah. Like she definitely did her thing with those photos, and I just posted them on my page for sure. But that was a beautiful time for sure. Turning 40 was a beautiful thing. I mean, people put this stigma on it, but it was great.
Yeah, and this is so these are some of the flavors I would presume, right?
Oh yeah, well this is tea, and yeah, that is all of the brands or the different blends of tea. I have like organic green tea.
Mm-hmm.
So some people don't. I'm that type of person where I like things like just as they come. I don't really like a lot of flavoring and extra stuff added to it. So it's the
Gotcha.
green tea. I also have what I call the tummy tea, which has the green tea, but it also has the melanin leaf root in it, which is good for inflammation and digestion. You should always have something in the evening to help you digest your food. You should have something warm to drink before you
Mm,
go to bed. So if you guys
mm.
are not doing that, y'all should definitely be doing that. So if it's not tea, maybe it's something like, just like a warm cup of cocoa or something, even a warm cup of water, just something warm to help your food digest from whatever you ate that day. Um, and then the other blend that I have is a chamomile. It's an
Uh-huh.
organic chamomile with lavender, and there's fresh lavender flowers in there.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and it's good for promoting relaxation and just calming. So if you've had a long stressful day, you have a sip of that in the evening just to kind of calm you down. It doesn't have caffeine in
You know what we're gonna do? This is I'm gonna go to your website. This is her. You guys, at this point, I want y'all to stop what you're doing and go to Instagram, go to Feeka Coffee and Tea, and make sure y'all click that follow button. Now she has 183 followers now, so I'm gonna expect at least 283 followers after this, right? Everybody that's watching, I want y'all to go because y'all know y'all be drinking some coffee and some tea.
I
And
know
like,
that's right.
listen,
I know that's right.
we drink. My dad was a huge coffee drinker, and I drank it with him. But I really like tea because I really like the emotional and the spiritual effects that tea has, man. Like some of those teas, it can bring you such solace and such peace, man. So I've
Oh
always
yes.
been a tea drinker, and
Oh
I like
yes.
my tea warm because, like you say, it does help with digestion. I didn't know. You know what I like to do is in the morning, Kirsten. I like to drink something warm, like maybe a
Oh, for
warm
sure.
tea
First,
with.
yes. When I usually work out in the morning, and I do that. I know you spoke about that earlier. I
Mhm,
work out early in the morning to kind of get it out the way, and it's the best time to get those endorphins and your energy going in the
mhm.
morning. And when I finish, my water is at least room temperature. I don't do like cold water in the morning. I never have cold water in the morning or late at night. I try to have it like maybe through the day, but yeah, you should always have something warm to drink first thing and later and before you go to bed.
My I haven't read this anywhere, but my mother was telling me that cold water kind of bloats your stomach. I know cold water shocks your system, right?
It
I know that
does.
it does. Like you shouldn't. I remember a young man died. He was in high school. He was
Oh
running.
my goodness.
This was years ago. This had to be in the 90s. He was running in the heat and drank some cold water, and his system shut down. I think it stopped his heart. And I
Yeah.
was like, "Oh wow," because that's the first thing we wanted when we were playing. When I played
Oh
basketball,
yeah.
and we'd be like, "Man, let me get some of that cold Gator. Let me get some of that cold water." Come to find out, that's not even good for you. But
Yeah. I mean, I used to like really cold water too. And
yeah,
I still like a cold glass of water sometimes, but I don't drink it as much. And
mhm.
for more reasons than one, it's really rough on your teeth. Like if you're losing the enamel on your teeth, which we all do as we age.
Really?
Um, yes,
Oh
it can be.
wow,
It can make your teeth very sensitive.
I
Like
didn't know that.
Yes. So, I mean, there's a few, medicinal reasons that you probably shouldn't drink it as much. I didn't know about the bloating. I definitely will look into that,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
because that's a huge thing with people now in their diets is what causes bloating.
Absolutely. You know what you dig your grave with your teeth. You know what I mean? So yeah, we have to watch it. But no,
You do.
so this is your website. If you want to walk me through this, because I know people probably want to they're gonna go on after this or and say, I'm gonna meet some Feeka coffee. And first, what does Feeka mean? Because that's a unique
Oh
word.
yeah, I don't even think I spoke about that. My apologies. Yes, fika is a Swedish word that actually means coffee break. And for anyone who might be wondering, well, why did you come up with that? I was searching, I was Google searching everything, trying to figure out what word best fit my experiences with coffee, and what I wanted it to be. I knew I didn't want it to be something with my name. So when I found Fika and I researched the meaning of it, I just felt like that seemed to fit the best. And it's a great conversation starter because people will look at me and they see me and they're always like, Fika, what? I don't get the correlation there. So it becomes a story that kind of gets people interested in the page. But yeah, it's a Swedish name that means, you know, it just encourages a coffee break, just sitting down and having a coffee break. And in a lot of European countries, you know, they make time for that. Like their lunch breaks and lunch times are way different than it is here. Here, I'm lucky to sit down for 30 minutes to enjoy a lunch if I'm not standing up or handling some type of business. Overseas, it's about like really taking time to like decompress from what you're dealing with in your day. And a lot of times people use coffee and tea as ways to kind of encourage that, just like we would use a drink at the bar if we were in a club, like at night. It's the
That's right.
same type concept, but we don't think of it that way here. Here in the US, we kind of think of it as, well, this is my pick me up as I'm doing all these millions of things. But that's where Fika is different. It is to encourage that slowing down and actually like checking in with the people that you care about.
Absolutely. What you saying is so true. I was in Japan. I was at Masawa in Japan, and I noticed that Japanese people they come around lunchtime. They took like an hour and a half lunch,
They
and it
do.
was so funny. After they would eat, they would go to sleep. Kirsten, we were saying how in America they
That would
call we
never fly.
right, it would never fly, but also the itis. You heard of the itis, right? People
Yes.
have said, "Oh man, the itis." They talk about the itis, and
Yeah.
my Muslim brother, he was like, man, they talking about we got the itis over here, man. They make it an emphasis. They make it a point to rest, to relax, and to really like you said, kind of
Decompress. Yep.
decompress, man, because they don't have the same mentality that we have in the
They
West.
don't.
And so I know what you're saying, and I think that's probably a global thing everywhere outside of the West that is just so capitalistic. Get the money,
Yep.
get the money, get the money.
Yes.
Run down,
Yes.
run down. Don't take no time for yourself. Get this production. Big wheel keep on turning. So
And
yeah,
that's deliberate. We have to
yeah,
know by now that it's deliberate, and it's just becoming a
absolutely.
thing where we are. I don't think we're realizing, what is that doing to us psychologically? What is that doing to us physically? What is it doing to us spiritually? I mean, we have to,
That's right.
as people, ask these questions and and navigate accordingly.
That's right. So look, I pulled this is now listen everybody out there in Feeka Coffee Land. Look,
The
this
Feeka
is
crew.
right, the Feeka crew, right? The coffee.
Yes,
What do you say? Coffee and chill?
I said coffee and combos.
Coffee and combo. Coffee. That's it. I love it. Coffee and
Yes.
combo. So this is the Feeka Coffee, the official website. And you got the home, obviously the home page where everything is based off of the catalog here, which shows her beautiful products, right? You got these
Yes.
products. And then we have her contact info. So what I'm going to do is you direct me through here, and I'm gonna just go. If we could go quickly go through each page, if you don't mind.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
So
Okay,
this,
so the first page that's up is basically like he said, it's a feature. It's a feature of all my products. The two at the very top there, those are the coffee blends that I have. So I have a medium roast. Well, this one is the espresso. It's a medium espresso roast. It's Brazilian, all organic. And these are blends that I have, put together. They're ones that I think taste great. I tend to like my coffee a little bolder. And so this one is definitely going to be a little bolder than the other one that I have. Now, the reason that it's called espresso is because of the it's a little finer grind of it. It's not as thick as the other one is, so it's really good for pour overs and using your like if you have a French press and things like that, and of course an espresso machine. If you have that, that would be most ideal.
gotcha.
um, but for those people that, and in Guam, we used to call them, not Guam, in Florida, we would call them a little bucci. So if you need a little shot of espresso to kind of, jolt you and give you some energy for the day, that's what this one would be the most good for providing.
Okay, okay. Now, what about this Colombian medium ground roast? Same thing.
Well, a little bit different. This one is going to be the one that is most similar to what you would see like in most coffee shops. So if you were to just buy like a premium roast cup of coffee, this is going to be the closest to that. That's what typically most people like to drink is a mid roast of coffee. It's smooth, very not too jarring or not too strong, but enough kick to it to where it helps you start your day. And it is Colombian, which is probably one of the most popular brands amongst all the places where you can get coffee. Colombia is kind of king at this point. And I know
Absolutely.
that's up for debate. Some people would probably not agree, but most people, most of the major brands would probably be getting their coffee from Colombia, to be honest. I like it. I think it's very smooth. And it's usually what I start my day with.
Okay, Colombia. All right, all right. I hear you. So you also have cocoa, I see.
Yes, I had a coworker come up to me and she was like, "You know what? I don't really do coffee. I don't really do tea." And she was like, "What about cocoa?" And I was like, I never tried that. Let me see what I can do with that." And I think she thought I was just like, I'm not speaking for her, but I think she thought I was just saying it to be saying it. And
Right.
I came back a couple of weeks with the blend and she was like, "Oh my goodness," like she was shocked that I had it. But it's a really good organic blend of cocoa. It does have sugar in it, so it's not completely organic, but I mean it's organic sugar in it, but I don't label it as organic because usually when you add sugar in it, you're adding some other things to it as well. But
Absolutely.
the cocoa itself is organic,
Hmm.
and it's it's not like what you would buy in the store because you can taste that chocolate flavor. It's very, it hits you as soon as you
Rich.
stir. Yes, it's very rich.
Okay, okay. Well, look, that's pretty dope. I just want to go through a few of those and all of the blends. You put all the blends together. They're all your product.
Yes, these are things, and you'll see on you if you check out my Instagram, you'll see where I'm mixing things up, and things are in the bowl. Like, I definitely spend time putting these things together because I know what I like to taste good. So I
Ab-
want people to, if they're going to invest their money in it, I think they should have a quality product. Um,
Absolutely. And the
yes,
catalog
sir.
is and the catalog is a little bit of the same of the homepage, right? It's just strictly The
Yes, it is. Yes, the catalog is the same as the homepage for the most part. There is, I believe there's a tab there if you need to contact me, which is going to be Feeka Coffee Company at gmail.com. So those emails go directly to me. I see them right away.
I think it's right here. Hold on. All right. And so I will put my email in, and then it'll come to you.
Yes.
Okay. I'm gonna go back real quick before we hold on. I think it was on the home page. I think I saw coffee and tea organic, and then I saw a little merch. Hold on, let me make sure I'm on here.
Oh yeah, I believe it is. I believe that right there to the left on my screen where the book is, that's the Feeka coffee mug.
Oh, okay. Okay. I
So the
see.
left, if it's on, well, on my screen, it's on the left.
This one right here, Feeka Coffee mug.
Yes, sir. Yes, that is it.
I got you. I got you. And then the contact info up here, you would put it all in and it comes straight to you.
Yes. And I've had a few people email me about I've had people email me about working for Fika. I've had people email me, about different ideas I should try. So I definitely look into and I definitely take time to read all of that. Because I definitely want to create products that people are interested in for sure, but that have, our brand with it. So
Listen, that is awesome. So, you guys, like I said, we showed y'all the Instagram going over there. Subscribe. She got 183 followers. She ought to have a bit more than that after this. Also, you going over and
right.
look through those amazing process products. She got the roast. She got the different Colombian Brazilian blend. Got
Oh
coffee
yeah.
mugs. Got gear. All that good stuff. So you can really get down with the Fika coffee movement, and it's for a good cause. It
Oh
really is.
yeah.
And it buttresses camaraderie. It buttresses uh, connection. That's what I see, and that's what I get from it.
Oh,
Before
yes.
I want to go to the next something that I read that was also I found Kirsten to be super interesting. Um, you're a writer.
Yes.
I saw you're a writer, and you know, tell us what you write about and any books that you might have on the horizon. So tell us, what you like to write about.
Yes, I actually have a few books in the works conceptually. I am in the process of writing a memoir in regards to femininity and my relationship with some of the strong women that I have in my life.
Hmm.
And I really want this project to be something that encourages femininity in our community culturally.
Hmm.
But this is definitely not a uh, black girl magic or girl boss type book.
Okay.
So it will not be of that energy. It's all about celebrating and harnessing and walking into your femininity as women.
Hmm.
But at the same token, just honoring the roles that we have in our men. I think we need to create more balance with that. And
Yeah.
that's what that book is definitely going to encourage. It may not be one of the more popular books because there's such a gender war right now, but I'm feeling compelled to
Hmm.
put something out there that speaks to that because I think young women need to know. I mean, it's you give a laundry list of what you want as a wife or
Hmm.
what you're looking for to become a wife, but what are you doing to create or manifest what you're looking for? And I think if we focus more on that
Hmm.
and not so much this laundry list and what we are looking for, um, I think what we want will find us. So that's
Absolutely.
what that's about. And I mean, of course, it's going to entail, just different moments that I have and I have had with my mother and things like that. I like to honor her in that way as well. sharing those memories. And then
Absolutely.
I also have, of course, I'm a teacher. I have to put a children's book out. So that is something that I'm also working on. It's loosely based on some of the experiences that I've had as a child. And it's just more kid friendly. It's a kid friendly story type book.
That's off. That is amazingly, I was gonna say awfully, but I'm gonna say amazingly wonderful that
I
you would
appreciate that.
think to create a memoir. Uh Again, about connection. What I get from you, Kirsten, is that you're a person that likes to connect and you huge on connection and intent and purpose. So it
Oh,
only
yeah.
makes sense that you would create a book that would trace, right, and document those
Oh, for
connections and
sure.
how they've helped you grow. And then being in the business of children, I shouldn't say being in the business, being that your purpose is teaching children, it would only make sense that you created a children's book. So kudos,
Oh,
thank
for
you. That is
sure.
dope. I can't wait to hear about it.
Oh,
And
yeah.
read it. Events, pop-ups, handles, anything before we go into the next phase of the interview, which will be where we discuss a couple things about lead with logic, a couple things in my realm, right? Any your handles where we can find you at. We already had two, but you might want to remind the people any events that you might be having, any spaces where they can go and find you, any pop-ups. Tell the people, let us know.
Oh, for sure. I just wrapped a pop up in the end of November. So we had one in Slidell. I'm always looking to join more. So any vendors or people that have pop-ups coming up in December, definitely send me an email or shout or DM on Instagram. As far as handles and areas you can find me. I'm newly on TikTok and I'm newly on Snapchat. I'm new to both of these, so y'all bear with me. And I put that I put that on both of my platforms. Those are not my avenues, but I am definitely getting out there. So I am K for Feeka on both of those platforms. And like I said, the holidays is kind of tricky because it's kind of that time of the year to be with family and things like that. So I don't have any pop-ups right now. Now that's always subject to change, and I always share that on my platform.
Mhm.
But those are what I have going on right now.
K4 Feeka. We already showed you guys the feekacoffee.com. You guys go to Instagram. She's now on TikTok. Yeah, we're a little bit in a different generation to where we don't
Yes,
if you watch my other interviews, Kirsten, you'll find that people of our age bracket, it's kind of a challenge
it's a
to
challenge.
do that stuff. It's kind of really a challenge, but it's necessary so that you can get more ears and eyes, and
Oh,
so
for
that
sure.
because you got a dope product, and I think that once people in the mass, once they catch on, it's gonna explode. As
I
you know what I mean?
appreciate
I think it's
that.
gonna explode. So this is the point of the interview where, we kind of delve into some things that I would normally build upon. I'm pretty sure you probably watched. I know you watched me and your husband build, but maybe you said, let me check out one of his builds by himself and see what he's talking about. And what you guys know what we do here at Leave with Logic, man. I take things that are maybe positively triggering, negatively triggering, and we do an analysis of it, and
Hmm.
we do that, and we extract uh, the objectivity out of it, so that we can enhance knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. And so, it's normally a topic that might be pretty common. There might be a buzz around it, or it has had a buzz.
Okay.
So, with you, I would, since you are an educator and a damn good one, I would
Oh, thank
ask
you.
you
Appreciate that.
about, yeah, no problem. I would ask you about, I think it was last year in Virginia, the 6-year old went to school, and unfortunately he shot that teacher, and she was a first grade teacher, and it was horrible. Kirsten, I know you know all about it. I can't wait to hear your perspective on this. And as the more I read about it, the more I just shook my head, because here it is, this kid, from when you read deep into the case, Kirsten, she sued because she told them this boy has a weapon. But when you read into it, she wasn't the only one that told him.
Mm.
It was two more people that said when he came into the school, I guess somebody thought, or they were like, wait a minute, I think that boy got something in his backpack. And they went to the office and they were like, nah. Then on the playground, he had told a boy he was gonna shoot him. He showed him the gun, told the boy he's gonna shoot him. And the teacher reported to the principal, didn't do anything. So when the teacher went up there and said, hey, this kid is threatening to kill me, uh, and then the boy actually shoots her. And then,
Yeah.
Kirsten, I read that. Now this is in the wake, everybody, of um, down in San Antonio. I can't think of what was the name of that school.
I don't. I want to say it was something with a V. I'm not really sure of the name as well. My apologies.
You
There's
know what I'm
so
talking about,
many
though.
now.
It
I
is.
do. I
That was the big one though,
yes.
because you know he hit them. He shot them in their face, them kids.
Yeah.
And so that was in the wake of that. And then when that happened, it was like, yo, what is going on with the schools? So I wanted to ask you, what are your thoughts on number one, children and this new breed of kids, the behavior of the new children, the parental. This is three. I'm gonna say I'm slow, just not because I'm slow, not for you. The the
I got you.
behavior of kids, the parental involvement, and the school districts and the system support of the educators.
Yeah, and that's a mouthful right there. I mean, we could spend all day and night talking about, well, who's at fault, who's to blame, but definitely parents have a responsibility to make schools aware of, what they're noticing at home, because kids are always gonna kind of, and some parents will say, well, he didn't really show any kind of, any of this behavior at home, but usually, typically, kids will leave some kind of hint, even if it's something that you think is minor. They'll say something or they'll do something that suggests that they're looking for some type of attention, or they're trying to outreach without saying it. So that's, parents have a huge responsibility in just sharing concern. That's going to be first. Now, with schools now, I mean, I don't want to speak for administration, but what I will say in my experiences and what I've seen is, it's a lot more lax now than it was in times before. And I know we're in a different time. I get that. But, kids unfortunately are able to, and I don't want to say get away, but they're given several more opportunities, than they would have been years ago, like when we were in school. And unfortunately, I mean, it's just created this concept of like, you know, it's created this concept of no consequence. I mean, kids need boundaries. They need consequence. They have to have, you know, consequences and rewards to their actions. And I speak that a lot in my classroom. Like, if this happens, this will be the consequence. If this happens, this is the reward you could be looking at. Kids need that kind of like direct and clear instruction when it comes to school. And unfortunately, they are given, I mean, it's getting to the point now where there's all these, uh, they're called PBIS events, but it's positive behavior intervention and all of this. They're giving, instead of giving them, a teachable lesson or enforcing some type of rule, I feel like it's just become a free fall of like, let's play and I just want everyone to win. And, and it's just not creating these character traits that we really want to see in our kids, so that they understand, okay, when I come to school, I'm going to learn and have fun, and I'm also going to be respectful. I'm also going to make sure that I'm giving my teacher this type of respect. When you have to barter and trade and negotiate with kids now, they're not going to respect you as much, because it it's kind of like you're on my level. And if you're on my level, then I mean, I don't really have to respect you as much. But if I have respect for you and I see you as the authoritative figure, you know, I might think twice before doing something like that. And unfortunately, I'm not sure that in schools we're pushing this authoritative like we should be. I'm not sure if we're doing that anymore. I think it's becoming way too lax to me, in my personal opinion. Now tell me the third question one more time. I think I might have forgotten that.
I said, what I say? I said, the kids' behavior, parental involvement, and support of administration. No, I think you answered them all very
Okay.
superbly
Just
because
wanted to make sure I
no, you
touched
did,
all
you
of
did. And it's funny because here, I'm in Georgia, and
them. Okay.
what I've noticed, Kirsten, is you talking about being lax. you know, they give the kids these makeup for these tests and everything, and I'm like, I tell my kids, that's not real life. That's not real. The first time, whatever you made on the test, that's what you made.
Yeah.
Everything else is the school trying to fluff up the numbers.
That's
That's it.
all
That's
it is.
all. That's it. That's all. That's
That's all.
another form of what was it back in the 90s? Leave no child behind.
That's it.
That's all that
That's
is.
it.
2.0. That's all it is. And so also with intervention, my son had got into it, and they called and asked me, they said, we would like to have a a talk with your son and the other boy. And and I was like, that's cool. You know what I mean? My son wasn't the aggressor, right? He wasn't the one who started it, right? So I understood. But I at the same time I said to myself, that's what that's because they had complained in my school district, and they were talking about too lenient disciplinary action. Disciplinary action is not being lenient enough. Because I will say this, right? Before that, we know that, well, here in Georgia, in my school district, black
Hmm.
students were being punished for the same infractions as white students at a 3 times higher rate. So once that came out, it caused this thing, so where they said, okay, we're not going to punish kids no more. We're going to do this PBIS, like you said. We're going to cause this intervention, right? Now, at the high school, depending on where you are, it's
Right.
iffy. At the elementary, that might fly because you still, like you said, kids are still children. They're still manageable. There's no physical threat then. But
Right.
in middle school, where some kids are physical threats, some kids aren't, but all are chemically imbalanced and a lot going on mentally, that's
Yes.
not going to work because what happened when they did that, Kirsten, it exploded once the kids realized that there's no real repercussion, like you just said, once they knew that I can get into a fight and I'm only gonna do is talk to me in the office with the other kid,
Yes.
then it became game on. And I'm like, oh wow, that's setting people up.
Yeah.
You setting as a community, you setting people up, you're setting up hostilities because most parents if you go to a school, you get a call and you have to have a conversation with other parents, you know, you be thinking, why is the kid acting like this? And then you go in there, Kirsten, and you meet the parent, you be like, oh,
That's
oh,
that's why.
got it.
Right.
Got it. So absolutely,
Exactly.
I'm not I'm with you. I'm totally with you. Like, man, it has become super lenient. And wow, like you could fail back in our day. Like
Yeah.
look,
Yeah.
if you
And you learn how to deal with failure. And that goes back to what I was saying before, Fahim. Like, yeah, I mean, we're in a society now where everyone gets a trophy, whether
right,
you did it right or not,
right.
whether you tried or not, whether you actually got it right or not. Everyone gets something. And that's the thing. And it's created children and eventually adults who don't know how to fail. They don't know how to like take rejection. They don't know how to express themselves like orally. That's a big thing, at my school with my kids. It's like, no, use your words. And I mean, I get into my teacher voice when I talk like that, but people aren't using their words anymore. They're just typing, They're just, shooting an email quickly. They're just, everything is instant. It's instant gratification all the time. Everything is not instant. And when I feel like when some people are not getting that, that instant gratification, they're exploding literally.
That's right.
And they're taking that out on other people, and it's unfortunate, but we have to look at ourselves societal wise, and not just you know and not just on this basic level. And I mean, we have to look at some other things too. I mean, you mentioned, the kids that are being punished at a much higher rate. That's a real thing. That's a real concern that I don't think is always addressed,
Right.
but it's real.
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
That is crazy. That is crazy. Whoo, you gave me a lot tonight, Kirsten. I appreciate you. I thoroughly enjoyed you. I thoroughly. I was so glad when your husband was like, "Man, I want you to interview," and I was like, "For
Yes.
sure," because I'm all about it, and I want to help out. This is my labor of love. This is my passion. Building, teaching. I'm a teacher of sorts as well, but
Okay.
also allowing or exposing, shining the light on people who are doing what I'm doing and what you're doing. Because, like you said, it's a huge part of us advancing. I think that it's going to help us, and it feels good, man, to be working within your purpose.
Oh yeah.
It's nothing like laying down at night knowing that you have fulfilled and satisfied your purpose.
Yes.
No amount of money that can do that. It's no amount of fame that can do that, because that's divine. That's cosmic. You've tapped into
Yes.
the universe and the cosmos when you have done that. So, look, I want you to stay back. I don't want you to go nowhere.
Okay.
Listen. We've come to the end of the interview. Y'all go and follow. Again, I'm gonna tell y'all to a couple things, right? Like and subscribe to Leave with Logic, right? And leave some
Yes.
comments about this bill that we just had, because it's absolutely wonderful. Also, I want y'all to go to Feeka Coffee on Instagram.
Yes.
Like, remember, we counting now. It's 183. I bet at least hit 200. And also go to
Yes.
go to the Feeka Coffee and make sure you grab one of those blends. And also go to the Lead with Logic 7.
Yes. I gotta go there myself. I need one of those shirts ASAP.
Yeah, and
Yes.
grab one of my it's hoodie season.
Okay.
Yes, it's hoodie season. So
I can rock with
go
hoodies too.
there. It's hoodie season. So y'all go on over there. And like I said, we have to support our own. We have to be ourselves and support our own.
It's so
And
important.
it's super important. It's super important. And when we see people, we have to encourage people to continue to do and continue to move forward the way you are moving. Kirsten, this has been a treat, and I'm gonna have you back too, because I know you're gonna be doing some big
I
things.
appreciate that.
I'm gonna have you back.
I
Now,
would definitely love to come back for sure.
I told your husband what I'm gonna do is, I got guests, man, that are coming on. People, all entrepreneurs, all people with great stories. You'll be tuning in. All you'll be able to watch. And so, what I would like to do is get some of you guys together, and we can discuss different things
Oh,
uh,
for sure.
about entrepreneurship, just things about life, and help people. Put something together. Maybe it'll be a round table on here, so we can all go back and forth and just talk about what we're dealing with, what we see in our business, but also where we are. You know what I mean? Whatever state that we
Yes.
are in, what's going on, what's on the landscape. So, like I
That
said,
would be amazing.
yeah, oh yeah.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, listen, thank you for coming on. Like I say, stay back, hang back just for one
Yes.
second.
I
Yes,
will.
y'all. Look, like I always say to people at the end of every show, look, may we all meet again in the light of understanding. Hey,
Yes.
peace and love, y'all. And we'll see y'all next time.
I'll take care.